Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Frida and today I'm going to be showing you how to do this makeup look. Hopefully you will like it, and if you want to see how I do this, please keep on watching. Hello beautiful people, I'm just going to start with removing the hair out of my face. So I'm just going to tie my hair with this twirly. And fun fact about this twirly is like 10 years old, so you know, if you take care of your things they will last. And once that is done, I'm going to show you what I have used and I'm going to use to prep my skin. First, I did use this EltaMD sunscreen, and I like to use this more like a moisturizer with sunscreen because it does really has a hydrating formula, but it's really light, so I don't have problem whatsoever with it. And this is TIZO sunscreen, which is tinted. And honestly speaking, for the most part, this is my everyday kind of skincare routine. I just make sure that I put quite a bit of sunscreen and my skin is quite hydrated because at night is when I really go and put some serums and other products which have really strong active ingredients, so I try to keep everything really nice and gentle on the skin on the morning and just make sure I get my sun protection. And as you can see, I just put this headband because I did have quite a few baby hairs that were bothering me, and I pretty much just make sure to have a really hydrated and sun protected skin before I apply any makeup. And I just make sure I blend everything because you want the base makeup to look like skin, so it is really important to make sure you blend everything. And here I'm just trying to show you this Maybelline Dream Cover base foundation. I know it looks a little bit dark, but this is like my tan shade and I actually really like this product. I talk about this in my Amazon favorites, and I think it's a really good foundation for most skin types. I think if you have really dry or really oily, you might need to prep properly, but otherwise I think it's really good, and I like that it has quite a bit of SPF. And I have said this before, you shouldn't rely on the sunscreen on your base because you probably won't use enough, but you know, having that extra, it doesn't hurt. And here I'm pretty much just blending that base foundation, and I did put a little bit of corrector for my panda eyes. So I have talked about this product before. It's just pretty much my favorite color corrector, and I'm just pretty much blending everything so it looks skin-like. And then I add this Pro Longwear concealer in NC20 from MAC, and I really like this, and I'm going to use this lighter color to highlight my skin. I know you still can see certain parts where I still have a little bit of foundation because I did use a little bit of that foundation as concealer kind of a deal to just let the product cook a little bit in certain areas so it grabs a little bit more and gives me more pigmentation. So kind of like using a concealer just where you need it, but with a foundation, and blending everything so it looks seamless. And here I'm pretty much just blending that highlight that I put with my concealer and just trying to make sure everything is really well blended. So as you can see, I do push the product into the skin and I do blend quite a bit, but I try to focus on don't moving the product too much, just making sure I get rid of those hard edges. And then I will add a little bit of concealer, so I pretty much get rid of any darkness under my eyes. This is a color which is a tiny bit darker than my skin, but I just focus on putting that product where it's dark so it would actually conceal. And here I'm showing you this Smashbox contour stick, and I'm just going to contour what I normally do, which is the cheekbones and the nose. I like to use a brush so it can be more precise and get a better finish, because otherwise I feel like people sometimes use way too much product on their nose, and although it can look amazing on certain lighting, for the most part it looks super fake, and I tend to like something a little bit softer. Then I put a little bit on my jaw and I put that under my jaw so I make it seem like I don't have a lot of fat there, so I look really snatched. So that really does help, because sometimes when you drag your foundation it can highlight the little fat that you might have there, and it's not the most flattering thing. I do put a little bit on my temples so my eyes look a little bit bigger, elongated, and pull upwards. And I do put a little bit on my lips because I love a really contour 90s kind of a deal look, and I really like plump luscious lips, so I like to do that. And then I'm just going to pretty much just blend with my beauty blender. I just make sure that there is not lines, and then I do move to the contouring part, and I just like to pinch my beauty blender and pretty much just stamp and roll upwards for the most part, because I don't want to drag too much the product. You can correct that if it happens to you, but you don't want to make your face look pulled downwards. So it is a good idea to try to blend upwards than downwards, and that will really help not making you appear any older than you are, because that can happen if you're not careful with highlighting and contouring. And what I wanted to, do here is pretty much bring back a little bit of that bone structure. You can go crazy with highlighting and contouring and it can look really good. But for the most part, I just tried to make the most flattering look, at least in this makeup look. Something that will look good on me, that I still will look like me, and that it will enhance the bone structure that I already have. So that's pretty much what I like to do for the most part. Sometimes I play with other things, but this is the kind of makeup that I feel like I really look good on. Something glam, but nothing too much. And here, as you can see, I'm just really blending that downwards a little bit and a little bit upwards. Like, I don't want to make my jaw appear any smaller than it is, but I don't want either to pull too down the contouring in any sort of way. And here I'm moving on to my blush, and I'm going to move to this well-loved blush palette from E.L.F. I have talked about this before so many times by now, but this one is just a favorite of mine. I found it at the beginning of the year, and since then I haven't stopped using it, and I just really like it and enjoyed it, and I think it's a really good price point for such a good product. And I just pretty much put most of the color on the highest points of my cheekbones, so I do really get that lifted look. I do put a little bit in the center of my face, but I feel like if you put too much of it, it can make your face look rather flat, and I just don't like to do that. If you have amazing cheekbones, really round ones, it will look amazing if you do that, if you do the really apple of the cheek kind of a deal. But because I don't have those gorgeous cheekbones, I'm going to leave that for the people who has them, and I'm just going to do what is more flattering on my face. And here I'm just going to do this Fit Me loose powder. I do like this powder. I don't know if it's my favorite one, but I think it's my favorite loose powder from the drugstore. For at least what I have tried, I think it's really good quality for the price. And I'm going to do a little bit of baking. I don't like to go crazy with this, and honestly it just depends on how the weather and the occasion is. Because honestly speaking, in deep winter, if I have dry skin, I would never do this. But because at the moment I'm living in a really hot place where there's a lot of humidity and my skin is acting okay, is quite hydrated, a little bit on the normal, a little bit dry part kind of side, but I did prep quite well and I did have quite really bright lights in front of me. I didn't mind to use, you know, baking. It's a conflicting thing for most people, I think. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I use it just sometimes because I feel like it looks amazing on camera. It can make you look super snatch, and on person it still looks really, really good. You will have to be literally looking at my pores to tell that I put powder on once I finish the makeup look, but I can totally understand, and I have lived because I have quite of, you know, sensitive skin when it comes to the butter of it, so my skin can go from dry to oily. Yeah, that can happen because I have combination skin, so that's something to talk about in another video. But because I have that knowledge, I know that it can emphasize texture, it can make you look more dry, it can make you look older. So I understand all of that, and I just use it when I feel like my skin can get a good look with it, and otherwise I just don't bother with it. And here I'm just going to do my brows, and lately I have been doing a little bit of an extra routine with my brows. It doesn't take that long, but I do use 3 different products. First, I try to fill my brows with my all the time below Anastasia Beverly Hills powder in Granite, and I pretty much give them super good shape and fill them quite well with them, and that's pretty much what I'm doing here. As you can see, I focus mainly on the tail because that's the part where it's kind of missing for me. I pretty much just want to fill them in as much as I can without looking way too harsh, and then I move to my brow waist, and I will tell you why I use the brow waist. I pretty much just use it because it allows me to be more detailed without, you know, putting too much product and actually getting defined. But because it really has a fine tip, it allows me to deposit less product that I would with the powder and the brush. And other thing that I really like is that, as far as I know, the pencil is waterproof, so because of that is much more longer lasting and it wouldn't disappear throughout the day. And because I do really shape the tails of my brows, they will stay on, and I really like that, and I can be really precise with it. And then I'm going to move to my gimme brow, and this is maybe just quite extra. This is pretty much to give my eyebrows a hairy look, if you know what I mean. This mascara for the brows pretty much just helps to get more hair into your brows because it has tiny fibers, so it makes the appearance of having thicker bushy brows, and I really, really like that. And by the magic of editing, I show you the 2 brows done, and then I touch my eyelids to make sure they are not wet or creasing or patching in any sort of way. Then I'm going to take a really light shade so I can get everything really set, and I always like to start with a brow bone kind of shade because it will allow me to blend better after I put that, because I just make sure that whatever concealer or sunscreen that I have is completely set, because otherwise if you have a wet or tacky base, it might grab more product in certain places than in others. And when it comes to your eyeshadow, you want everything to be able to be quite blended. So that's why then I move on to this gray contouring shadow, and this color really will help give a structure to my eyes. And as you can see, I'm really trying to focus this contouring shade where I need it the most, which is in the outer corners on the tail of my eyes, so I can get that deepness in my eye. And then I pretty much blend to the middle to inside part of my eye. If it makes any sense to you, I just give a little bit of a wash of color so it doesn't look too harsh or dramatic. And more than anything, I would add a shimmer later on, so I don't really need a lot of color there. I just need to make everything look cohesive and connected, because that's how bone structure works. And then I make sure that I blend to the temples so my eyes look bigger. There is that deepness there. I create a shadow there, so it really gives the illusion of a really seamless eye look. And then I do put a little bit on my lower lash line because it would make everything look more, as I mentioned before, cohesive, and will give the illusion of my eyes looking bigger than they are. So that really does help in the overall look. And then I just moved to this shimmer shadow. I love this one. It's super pretty. I think I have shown you this palette before. It has been a favorite of mine for a really long time. I don't really like the matte shadows here, but the shimmers are really something else. So just because of that, they are quite worth it for me. And a look with the purple eyeshadow is coming. I mean, the purple shimmer eyeshadow is coming. But in the meanwhile, I do have one with the orange one, and this is with the silver one. So you can actually see how they look. And this is the type of shimmer that I have mentioned before, which looks pretty on camera but actually it steals the show on person, because on person it looks this like super really flattering and pretty, and it just makes you look pretty and doesn't steal the attention from you. It's just really pretty. Like, I like to play a lot with makeup, and sometimes I like something that is more dramatic for sure, but this is the kind of shimmer you can use every single day and it always looks tasteful. It never looks too much. So this is the kind of shimmer that I think most people will find really flattering, and you can tell here how pretty it is. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do with my eyeshadow here. It's super simple, and then everything will come together once you blend. You don't want to blend too much that shimmer, just want to make sure everything around the edges is quite blended, because all about this look is about what looks flattering and soft and pretty, and still looks good on camera, but in person it looks even better. So I think this is a line that is really good of makeup that looks good on camera and looks good on person, and is really sophisticated, if it makes any sense, because you can tell I have makeup on, but it's nothing that would be too much. It's something that will look really good with tons of different outfits, and it's the kind of makeup where you think, wow, I look pretty. Here I'm showing you that I put some liner, I'm showing you the liner that I use. I'm going to link everything down below. And then I have put some lashes. And you know, this is my typical routine of liner and lashes, and you know, it's quite simple. I will put everything down below. Then I'm going to line my lips. I'm going to use Cork, which is a favorite of mine. And because I find this color super flattering, it really helps giving that illusion of bigger, plumper, believable lips. And I find that this color on my complexion really is versatile because it doesn't look too much, nor it steals the show, but it's quite potent in what it can do to my lips. And I think you can tell here that it just brings the shape really well without looking way too fake or anything like that. And I pretty much just really give them shape with that, fill them in quite a bit. And then I add a lipstick from Marc Jacobs, which is a light brown color to give a little bit more of plumpness, like adding a highlight color, if you know what I mean. I will leave everything down below. This is Peach Twist and is a blush which I'm going to use in the highest points of my cheeks because I felt like it was, you know, a little bit too neutral, my face, so I wanted to give more a structure with that, and I really like this color. I think it looks super pretty and flattering. And as you can see, I'm just pretty much running that through my cheeks and putting a tiny bit just in the highest points of my nose, in the bridge of the nose, to give more of a cute look, but nothing too much because I don't want my nose to look bigger than it is. And then I'm just pretty much removing that extra powder that I have left from the baking. And I know you can still see a little bit of it, but I'm going to get rid of that line later on. Then I'm going to put my bronzer, and I have been loving this bronzer from Dior. I talk about this in my favorites, and I'm aware that I have 3 videos with the same outfit, but that's because I did film one long favorite videos and I realized it was like 2 hours long, so I have to, you know, edit them in a way that was not too much for you guys. So it was not my intention to do 3 with the same outfit, honestly speaking. And then, as you can see here, I'm just pretty much just putting that where I would normally would, just pretty much warming up a little bit of the face. I know I put them where is the contour a tiny bit, but honestly I just give them a little bit of a wash of color, just to don't look so pale. And I think this bronzer is super pretty. If you have similar complexion to mine, I would say that probably give it a check, because finding a good bronzer for me is quite difficult, and I find that this one looks just gorgeous. And then I'm going to put my highlighter. I love this one. You have seen me using this one tons of times by now. It's Soft and Gentle by MAC. I love this one. It is super powerful yet effective. It is really a sophisticated look, I think. It's super flattering, and what I love the most about this is that it looks wet on camera, on person, and it never looks bad or enhances too much of texture. So I really like that, and I think it doesn't steal the show from other parts of your makeup like sometimes certain highlighters can do, and it really gives a really nice off complexion. And here I'm pretty much using a little bit of Fix Plus, and I didn't put the part where I use my hair dryer in the cold setting to make sure everything was dry, but here I'm showing you pretty much the makeup, my hair, and how everything looked by the end, because I was really in love with the look and I was really happy about it, as you can see here. Well, as you can see, this is pretty much the final look. I think I end up with something that looks really flattering. Like sometimes I do certain makeup looks that are pretty, do not get me wrong, they are pretty, but they're not the most flattering. Sometimes, you know, like we put certain colors that might be not the best for skin color and everything like that, and I find that this really looks soft, good, like I look pretty, if you know what I mean. And there's a different thing about, oh, you look pretty and your makeup is pretty but you look pretty, then well, your makeup is pretty. And I hopefully you know what I mean. But you know, sometimes I like to do both or different things. To me, makeup is a way of expression, and I think it's important to know, you know, different types, because I like different types, and sometimes I feel like in different moods, and you know, like having this type of makeup look, finding the makeup look that flatters you the most, I find that really good, because you can make that your go-to when you don't know what to use with maybe something that is super colorful, or maybe a statement outfit or something like that. This really will fit with pretty much everything. Of course, you can change some things on that, but I find this really looks like flattering for my complexion and my coloring and my hair color and everything like that. If you are a little bit different in skin color, undertone and things like that, it might be a little bit different, but I find that, you know, good defined brows but still looking kind of soft, not too much, really defined lips, a good lip liner, good defined cheekbones, like a contour but nothing too crazy, lashes for sure, a little bit of liner, you know, everything. Keep it up at the minimal, but yeah, just powerful. Like, it's totally obvious that I have makeup on because I have lashes and glitter literally on, but it's flattering, if you know what I mean. But hopefully you did like this makeup look. I love this. Well, I'm kind of really in love with this, as you can tell. I really enjoy my makeup. To me, it's something so relaxing, and I know a lot of you are not putting makeup on every single day. I don't either, but I do put it like 3 times per week at least, I would say. I find that it really makes me happy. Like, I am a girly girl in that sentence, in that degree, in that matter. I really enjoy putting makeup on. I really enjoy putting a cute outfit. I really, it makes me happy. And these days with quarantine, we have to try to enjoy what makes us happy. Of course, I know some people really like to go out and things like that, but I find that just the fact of putting something on and working out in these things, to me, really fulfills me, and it just puts me in a really good mood. Of course, there are other things that I am kind of sad that I cannot do at the moment, like traveling and, you know, going to the gym, which is something that I adore. I adore lifting weights. This is something that I really like. But I really like putting makeup on, and at the moment I can do this in a safe way. Like, I don't have to go outside or anything like that. So I'm trying to, you know, really do the things that I like, that maybe sometimes we don't do because you're like, oh well, I'm not going out anywhere. But I actually like just putting the makeup on, and you know, no one is really going to watch me other than my parents, but I still enjoy it, and I am going to try to encourage you to do the things that you like, even if no one is going to watch you do them. And of course, so talking about that subject, I wanted to ask you if you will be interested, if you would like me to put some content here about music. And I'm like, well, should I not? I really want to go back into singing. I'm not amazing at it, but I really like it. I'm really it's something that fulfills my soul. It's something that I love with my whole heart, and it's just, I don't think there is anything else in the world that fulfills me the way singing does. Of course, there are other things that I love, but it's just something about singing. It just really makes me happy. Music really makes me happy, and I I really want to go back into it. I used to take lessons a few years ago, and you know, I was going back and forward. School sometimes gets in the way, life, you know, gets in the way, and I always find that I always miss it, and I can go kind of a long time without singing, but once I do sing, or I find myself singing, I'm like, well, why did I stop ever doing this? It just really fulfills me in a way that nothing else does. So I really want to go back into that, not because I'm in a really bad mood or really down, because I have not been that way. I have been quite in a good mood lately, but I have the time, and sometimes, you know, I'm like, well, I don't have the time. Right now I do have the time, and it's something that I adore. And although I hit myself, because I was planning on doing like a blog about me going back into singing, and you know, at the beginning it has been a while since you sing. It's going to sound not the best, like I'm probably going to be cringing while I sing, and you know, it's just a little bit harder, because although I wouldn't say I'm super beginner, I'm not a beginner. I'm not even, you know, medium or high level when it comes to that. I just know a little bit things here and there, and it's not the same listening to yourself than other people listening to you, and how you actually sound is quite different than how you hear yourself. So there is where it gets tricky. When you have a teacher, he can point out at the minute when something is not sounding the way it should, but when you're singing, you have to record yourself going back and forward until it's more like a feeling. When you are singing, your instrument is your body, of course, and we use different resonators. So I find that quite often is just focusing on breathing and, you know, technique, and knowing where the resonator is going, and the vibration and the intensity of the color, and you know, that kind of a thing. So I'm thinking that I might do that, but I'm not really sure yet. Yeah, so I really want to make time for that. Maybe do a vlog so we can get to know each other a little bit more, but hopefully I do that. And yeah, so just let me know if you have any interest in that type of content, because that's a huge thing that I just adore. So without anything more to say, thanks for watching. If you want to know more about the things that I do, I will put my social media here. Please give it a thumbs up of the video if you like this video, and subscribe and share, because I'm going to try to put more content here. I actually have been quite good at filming. It's just that I have really bad internet where I live, so sometimes the videos take like 5 days to be up. So sorry because of that. I really want to try to fix the internet situation so I can put at least 2 or 3 videos per week, but I have really enjoyed filming, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching again, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.